Well, Bennett Kessler filed the following report. In spite of chronic and serious state budget problems and deep cuts in the judicial branch budget, the California Judicial Council has approved 23 new court facility projects to move ahead, including a new court building in Inyo County. Now, a press release from Inyo County Superior Court says that the Judicial Council voted to accept recommendations from its Court Facilities Working Group, which gave Inyo County the go-ahead to proceed with site acquisition for a new courthouse. Now, the site will be in Bishop. The Judicial Council did require that the project budget be reduced by 10%. The state had earlier described Inyo's project as one with 2 courtrooms, 28,774 square feet at a cost of $32,286,000. Now, Superior Court Judge Brian Lamb and Tammy Grimm, CEO of Inyo Superior Court, they attended last Friday's Judicial Council meeting. They said they had attended 30 hours of public hearings before the Facilities Working Group in September. Grimm is quoted as saying that she and Judge Lamb explained the factors which spell out the need for a new court building. Now, the Inyo press release lists some of the factors: security, overcrowding, lack of ADA accessible courtrooms, physical condition of the buildings, accessibility of facilities by the public, along with other items. Now, the press release says that the vote last Friday moves Inyo County and 22 other statewide projects back into a proceed status. 7 projects were indefinitely halted due to deep cuts to the judicial branch budget. Now, Ms. Grimm said that the administrative office of the courts will proceed to identify and purchase a site for the courthouse. Earlier searches for a Bishop site had been unsuccessful. Now, after the site acquisition comes the design phase, and at that time, Inyo's administrators and judges will appear before a subcommittee to address reductions in the courthouse construction budget. Well, Bennett Kessler also filed this report. Greg Norby took the top job at Mammoth Community Water District almost exactly 4 years ago. The district issued a news release Monday to say that Norby will move on to the Bay Area at the end of January. Now, Norby has overseen continued projects, recycled water systems, a large solar array, and other developments. Now, by virtue of its potential impact, the lawsuit filed by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power attacking Mammoth's water rights will loom large as the most significant happening under Norby's management. Now, this happened even as he and others wrapped up the long-time project of the environmental review of water flows in Mammoth Creek. Now, the district news release says that, quote, General Manager Greg Norby announced that he regrettably will be leaving the district, having very much enjoyed working with the Mammoth Community Water District Board and professional staff, end quote. The release says Norby will move on to the Bay Area to, quote, be closer to his family and to support his partner in her career in secondary education digital publishing, end quote. Now, the release says Norby will seek new opportunities in utility management or engineering consulting. Norby said that until he leaves, he will continue to, quote, work closely with the MCWD board and legal counsel on the lawsuits filed by LADWP, end quote. Norby, board members, and lawyers will meet privately with DWP officials next month for another negotiation session on the lawsuit. Now, Norby said he will also work with the Water District staff to develop the annual strategic plan for 2013, draft next fiscal year's budget, and help in the recruitment of a new general manager. The news release says that the Water District Board has begun to take steps to recruit a new general manager. And the Los Angeles Times focused on one man in the Owens Valley. In the Sunday edition, reporter Louis Sahagan compared Air Pollution Control District Director Ted Shady to Gary Cooper in the classic film High Noon. Shady's battle not with Old West villains, but with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Now, the article ran on the front page of the California section and tells how Shady has enforced air quality laws and signed agreements to clean up the Owens Dry Lake dust, and now how LADWP has gone after Shady. The story reports on LA's new federal lawsuit against the EPA, California Air Board, State Lands Commission, BLM, and the Great Basin Air Pollution Control District. Now, the Times points out that the lawsuit does not name Ted Shady personally, but that DWP has gone after him with accusations of unfair regulation. They want Shady out of the picture. The article says, quote, "The attacks have left Shady in a position he didn't expect, abandoned by many Owens Valley community leaders and environmental activists," end quote. The reporter, Sahagan, explains the lack of public support when he writes that, quote, "In a place where LA owns most of the land and water and has a grip on the region's economic stability, few people were willing to comment about the man whose career is on the line." End quote. Now, Mono County Supervisor Larry Johnston did offer support to Shady. Johnston is chairman of the local air board, and the Times said Johnston has described Shady as, quote, "our guy." Owens Valley Committee Director Mark Bagley said, quote, "Ted has a reputation for being a straight shooter." And a surprising voice of support also came from David Freeman, a luminary in the water and political world who worked as DWP general manager in 1997 when the Dry Lake deal was signed. Now, Sahagan, the Times reporter, quoted Freeman as saying that Shady is just a bureaucrat enforcing the law. Freeman also was quoted as saying, quote, "Ever heard of a polluter who didn't claim a regulator was biased?" End quote. The Times article goes on to describe the dispute over the Dry Lake, Shady's position that he is enforcing the law, and DWP's gripes about the cost and the extent. You can get a link to that LA Times story on our website, sierrawave.net, where there is also a letter to Sierra Wave Media from Mike Prather, and part of that letter reads, quote, "The attack on Ted Shady in the Great Basin Unified Air Pollution Control District is an attack on all of us. This behavior needs to be exposed and thwarted. I sincerely appeal to everyone to stand up for clean air, the laws of America, and for our champion, Ted Shady," end quote. And that is signed Mike Prather, Lone Pine. And again, you can read that entire letter on our website, sierrawave.net. Well, Friends of the Inyo held its open house on Tuesday, celebrating a successful Summer of Stewardship season with people relaxing and enjoying an informative evening at Friends of the Inyo on Barlow Lane in Bishop. Sierra Wave Media's Ron Alexander was on hand and had a chance to talk with Laura Beardsley. She's the new executive director of Friends of the Inyo.
Volunteers are essential to what we do at Friends of the Inyo. We have volunteers that help us with stewardship work, be it on trails in the Mammoth Lakes Basin as part of the Summer of Stewardship programs with the Mammoth Lakes Trails and Public Access Foundation, or on trails and other areas throughout the Eastern Sierra region. It's essential for the public, for volunteers, and for organizations like Friends of the Inyo to care for these places, care for these amazing public lands which we have in our communities. And we really couldn't do that without the time and energy, the support that volunteers bring. To become a volunteer for Friends of the Inyo, you can find out information about the different opportunities we have on our website, which is friendsofthéinyo.org, by reading our newsletter, which is published every 6 months, and by calling our office and just asking us for more information.
Well, we thank Laura Beardsley and Ron Alexander for that. If you would like some more information, you can check out their website, friendsoftheinyo.org. We'll be back with more news.